Let me show you what fusion can do!
So with the big recent leaks that came out for Sparking Zero recently, I wanted to kind of go over my thoughts on leaks in general and in this specific instance and talk about their origins. As confirming when it comes to the first leak that happened with the GT trailer leaking a few hours before the trailer was set to actually officially release, that was not actually on purpose. It was by Nanogenics. He was invited to view an early screening of the trailer with Rhymestyle, I believe Avrasenju and Dota, and he had an upload scheduled. And the common theory is that, since he hasn't given an official statement on this yet, the common theory is that, like, since he's in not America at this time, probably Japan, for an event, he uploaded the schedule, but his phone doing the uploading didn't auto align to the clock's time zone. Therefore, it actually accidentally released earlier than it was supposed to release, which is something that you can probably get behind if you've ever traveled before and you've messed with time zones and stuff like that. It can be very, you know, disorienting, and like if things don't go exactly the way they're supposed to go, you can just be kind of thrown off your game. So that one's definitely accidental. I don't think there was any malicious malintent behind that. I don't think it was Nano's intent to leak that trailer early, and it seemed that they were pretty ecstatic and excited just to actually react to that. Now the bigger one is the full roster character leak that dropped. This one was a little bit more involved of a situation. This was actually Bandai Namco providing footage to a Japanese media company, a Japanese media organization, which were obviously supposed to have this footage to use in reviews of the game, and they were supposed to upload this with YouTube with Bandai Namco's consent at some later point in time when they probably had their reviews all finished, and this was probably going to be some part of big media piece for Japan. And their YouTube channel set it to unavailable as opposed to scheduled. And what happens when you're in the menu for YouTube and you switch the things for it, sometimes you have presets where it's automatically selected for unavailable or private or public or then schedule. And schedule you have to physically click on, and sometimes it can be a little, not confusing, but it's under the box where it already says unavailable. So you would think that if it's unavailable that it would be unavailable, but it's not quite unavailable to the public. It just means that it's not published as something for everybody to be able to find. And if somebody is keen enough, they can go on these websites, especially the ones that they know are doing press for the video game, and they can actually just download those videos or record them with screen recorder or screen capture, like whatever you want to do, whatever different various ways they have to actually capture that, they can do so. This was actually the case with this Japanese media company. The video was actually captured from their channel that was set to unavailable and then spread like wildfire. I actually got on this like fairly late, I want to say. Like I found out about it at like 5:30 a.m. when I woke up Eastern Standard Time. So I had already seen it like replicated a couple places, and I did feel the need to actually act on it or share on it. And I want to give my thoughts and my reasoning why and behind this. So one of the things that I've seen, some people that may have less insight into the industry, let's say in a nice way, will be going after YouTubers, and I've gotten a couple of these comments myself saying that like they're scum for like spreading this because this is against like the developers' plan, even though the developers have nothing to do with the marketing for the game. That's the publisher. Let me just get into this for a second. I'm not going to try to like convince you otherwise. I'm just going to give my thought processes, my reasonings behind this. As somebody who is a YouTuber, when you are in this ecosphere of other YouTubers and we're all super excited for this anticipated game, and we don't really get them that often, like maybe once a year, and a lot of times they get brushed under the rug because they're just an average game, and this game is hyping up to be something special. A lot of people were wondering if their characters were going to be in the game. And some people, like 3 weeks out from the game, weren't sure if they even wanted the game yet or didn't want to pre-order it because like there's so much missing content from Tenkaichi 3, which this game claims to be a sequel of. And in this specific instance, when it comes to some people making a decision, I've seen with my own eyes a bunch of people saying now that they're going to pre-order the game because like their characters that they wanted are actually in there. So yes, the leak was official, it was by official means, so it's not exactly a leak of somebody stealing footage or anything. This footage was intended to go to the source that it was intended to go to, and that source was intended to spread it, but it didn't have the intent of spreading it that early. Or maybe they did, maybe it was accidental, maybe it wasn't. I can't really speak to that. A lot of times you will come across this kind of narrative where people are saying that it's your fault specifically for reporting on it. But I mean, I guess like YouTubers share some responsibility, and we're not technically journalists or anything like that. But when it comes to people anticipating or wanting to buy this game and us building hype, our main job is to create content on that. And a lot of people do different various avenues of which content they want to report on. But when it comes to like my stuff specifically, like a lot of like news or like lore and stuff like that, I was beholden to actually release it to at least my subscribers, and I'm a fairly small channel, so it like is inconsequential. The fact that like some people think that like news like this is gonna break and get out there and everyone and their mom is just gonna ignore it and like completely turn off the internet for 3 weeks until the game comes out is ridiculous. It's just like if you're watching the news, to make a kind of loose analogy, if you're watching the news and they report on like, let's say, some kind of violent crime that happens, of course like the main go-to is to not kind of idolize or bring up the person doing the acts in the first place, because like that could actually embolden other people that are like-minded to be able to commit those same kind of acts, and not only in their name but for notoriety and stuff like that. So you're kind of giving them a platform, and then we would have no news. So like that kind of, the news is there to like inform the public of like what's going on. It's not there to create news, it's there to just inform. So unbiasedly, most of the time, what it's supposed to work. When YouTubers do the same thing, we take content that we get. There's a couple things that you have to realize from our perspective, and then I'll get into your perspective in a second. From our perspective, from the smaller YouTubers to the big YouTubers, it's kind of like a trickle down scenario. So when you have the people that are like really up there with a lot of like followers reporting on something, like let's say like in this community we'll have like Rhyme Style or somebody like that, they'll get their information first. And then it'll go to like the secondary channels that people are associated with but not directly contributed to that. That would be like your Maximilian dudes and stuff who like actually have a stake in the game, but like it's more generalized when it comes to their content. So they have fewer direct people that are looking for that information. They will get that, and then it'll trickle down and down and down through the streamers, and then it'll go down through the mid channels, and then it'll go all the way down to the lower channels like mine, and then it will go beyond mine, the people who are just getting started or trying. And the purpose of the trickle down information is to gain new following and to gain new stuff on your channel, to make sure that not only do you have content, but it's also like if everybody else is reporting on this and you're purporting to be knowledgeable or to pass on knowledge or to inform people and you're not speaking on the matter at all, it makes you look like, from the public's perspective, that you're out of the loop or that you're out of touch or that you don't have the information at all. And it's not so much a stance on morality or ethics, it's more of a, people will go to other channels where they feel like they can get that information. Because as much as there's the crowd that says that leaks are terrible all the time, always, there's the other crowd that likes leaks because it gives them a more informed decision on whether or not they're going to purchase a product or not. Because like I said, like money is not, you know, readily available to everybody, and if you want to buy like a $110 game or pre-order that, you got to make sure that you have the money ready. And we only have 3 weeks until the game comes out, so a lot of people are like, if there's no movies, I'm not buying. If there's no GT, I'm not buying. There's a lot of crowds that like their specific favorite aspect of Dragon Ball, which is not everyone's, is going to make a decision based directly on that. Because the general consensus is we still have Tenkaichi 3, we have the Tenkaichi 4 mod, like we have Tenkaichi 2. Like we can play all these games and have all our favorite characters. So not necessarily getting this at launch would hurt the game, because not only would it not as do the numbers that it was supposed to do, they might actually cancel future DLC, they might actually cancel future projects based on number projections that like their marketing department like projects they're actually going to be selling within a certain time frame or certain quarters, and all that stuff trickles down into like us not getting good stuff anymore. So while I can sympathize with the crowd that says that like the marketing team developed this roadmap of when we're supposed to get information, when we're supposed to get trailers, when we're supposed to get news, for a reason, to build hype like on a ladder level to the ultimate epitome of like the final trailer, which makes everybody rush out the door and go pre-order the game or go online and pre-order the game or do whatever it will to bolster those numbers. While I can sympathize to that, there's a whole other nuanced side of leaks that actually feeds into a larger narrative when it comes to the wider consumer base and actually the developers themselves. I have seen a little bit of misinformation out there that I do want to touch on. This doesn't hurt the developers really, first-handedly at least. If it results in a loss of sales, that can that can go into a lack of budget for the next project, which does directly affect their salaries or how much budget they at least get for making that game, which makes that next game come out like maybe a little bit worse. But it can also affect it in a positive, so it's like neither negative nor positive. It just depends on which way the information goes. The leak for this information, from what I've seen, has made the information go in a drastically positive light, like making people see that like, oh, maybe this is the ultimate Tenkaichi game. There's still some missing content, some missing characters, but like now it's far better than we thought it was after like the Boo Saga, for example. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers like Globku, for example, talk about how like it looked like they were sleepy during their previous reviews for like the Boo Saga and whatnot. It's because not only were these things leaked from V-Jump scans constantly, which obviously can't be helped, but when it goes forward like motion into the next stuff, they already know what's coming, and it's harder to kind of fake that kind of reaction when it comes to that, which I'm not the kind of person that wants to fake a reaction in the first place. So I made a straight up video about it because I had already seen the leaks. There's no way to like react directly to a unofficial trailer for a leak I saw at 5:30 in the morning, but that's just my take on it. So I can see both sides, and the misinformation is a little annoying, but like it's not everybody is going to know all these little ins and outs behind like the back end workings of these companies, so I don't expect people to actually be informed about that. That's probably like my job or like other people's jobs to inform them about this kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. The other question is, just because this stuff was leaked does not necessarily mean that this is all base game, like we talked about this before. The slots that are on there, I should make an entirely different video about that, but just that grid that they keep showing is for promotional use only. That's only for the trailers. The arrows don't really mean anything. There's nothing really about that like means anything outside of like how they want to present the characters in the trailers for marketing purposes. We don't know if there's extra characters than they intended in the base, or that we thought were going to be in the base, that it will expand or flip pages. We don't know any of that. That's not the actual indicative character select screen that's within the game itself. We've seen that multiple times. We know what it looks like. So this grid is just there for promotional pieces. So just to have 164 characters there doesn't necessarily mean we're only getting 164 characters. So I do understand that. But like, it's up to us to go with the information that we have. So if you see 164 characters on the grid, you're going to automatically assume there's going to be 164 characters in base. This could still be the case. This could not be the case. The stuff that we've seen could be a later build or an early build of like DLC. But as Ragaroth pointed out on his channel, it might be a little confusing, because if they were going through the character slots and there was DLC after the DLC that's already there, and this is like a developer build, then why would we actually not have the Dragon Ball Super Superhero stuff or the Dragon Ball Daima stuff represented directly in the character screen, and only Goku Daima, which is the pre-order bonus character? So I think that like on top of like that kind of misinformation and people having a lack of knowledge in like certain specific areas, information can tend to spread really, really fast. I've seen people in all kinds of directions, and I just want to say that like leaks are kind of a neutral thing. It's neither good nor bad. It's the outcome that affects it because of the leak, determining whether something is good or bad. Because this leak very well could have led to more sales for Bandai Namco, or it could have taken away a few. So it just depends on the situation. I believe that this leak actually led to increased sales, increased hype, and increased hope for the future of this game. And that's just my opinion, obviously. But I think that like the general gist of where the information is going, I can see it leading in that direction. So for me, that's just my opinion, but I think it's an informed one. And I don't know, I think that that's like, there's very nuanced conversations if you're happening here. I'm probably missing some stuff because I talk about the stuff off the cuff. I don't have a script or anything. So I just want to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, or you can join the Discord in order to keep the conversation going. But I want to show the poll right now at the end of the video that we did. It's actually 2 polls, I believe, and I'll show your comments on screen as well for the last couple videos, because this was a crazy week, so there was a couple different polls. And you can see them right here, and you can see your comments on screen if you want to appear in a future video. And be sure to leave a like and go over to the community tab section of the YouTube channel where you can vote on polls and comment there, and that's where I actually draw the comments from to show on screen. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to a close. I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Let's build up more hype for this game. I know I'm pretty hyped, so I hope you are too. And as I always say, guys, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.
Ivy Valentine subscribes to Mark Yoon, so should you. Enjoy your treat!